Well, good evening, everyone. I am waiting to see if it is going live on Facebook and everything else. Um, so let's see. Hope everybody's having a good Monday. Actually, getting a Monday mandate on a Monday. I know it's a little late, but I told myself I was going to start doing this on Mondays. So here we are. So, welcome to Monday Mandates. I'm Kirk Crabtree. Just a place where I just kind of talk about stuff that I see in the local, whether it's Manhattan or Flint Hills area, small business and entrepreneurial ecosystem. Basically, it's just me talking for a while, unless someone wants to chime in or has any questions or comments. Would love to hear them. Um, really, honestly, going to try to do this every Monday. Hopefully, a little earlier, but Mondays is also Boy Scouts, so hopefully, try to get a little earlier as time goes on, closer to 8 o'clock or so, as everybody's finishing up dinner and kind of just winding down and just have some conversations. Um, so would love to hear about anything that anyone else has to say or comments that anyone else would have to say on the local, Manhattan, JC, Wamego, the Flint Hills region, small business and entrepreneurial ecosystem. So here we go. Let's just get to it. Of course, I told everybody my weekly book club. And this week I was reading Talking to Strangers by Malcolm Gladwell. I thought I could get through the whole book this week. Apparently I couldn't. Other things came up, as they always do, it seems. So didn't get all the way through the book. Got about halfway through it. Got some good notes. So hopefully by next Monday, um, I'll be able to talk about that book. And if anybody else has read it or knows about it, would love to hear your thoughts about that book, Talking to Strangers by Malcolm Gladwell. Um, Quick programming note, I will be in Chicago, Aurora area next Monday. I still plan on doing the Monday mandate because I can pretty much do it from anywhere. But you won't see, the refrigerator and the blinds and the cats aren't eating right now. The cat's eating behind me. Next Monday night, I'll probably be in a Holiday Inn Express somewhere near Chicago. Um, Traveling up there. Uh, as many of you know, one of my next project or one of our projects is we'll be opening a mattress store in the area, and early next week, traveling up to the Chicago area to meet with other dealers, meet with the distributors, take a tour of the factory. It is a private label mattresses and box springs and bed frames and stuff like that. We are taking over a space in Junction City. A lot more information to follow on that, but just suffice to say, I'll be in Chicago area beginning of next week as we get ready to launch the mattress store. Hopefully, uh, we'll have a grand opening depending on supply chain and when the first load of mattresses get here. We're hoping by mid-May, maybe closer to end of May, we'll have all that up and running, and you'll see a lot of stuff about that coming from us. Um, what's going on? I'll tell you, real estate. The real estate market is what's going on. It is, getting towards the end of April, so we're seeing all of the January through March, that quarter, whether you call it Q1 for a calendar year or call it Q2 for a fiscal year or Q3 because your tax year started in July 1st for some reason, like a lot of things do. Um, but January through March, January, February, March, that quarter, um, the activity in the real estate market, both single family and multifamily, was up 25%, something around there, which is huge. Um, what that tells us is that means there was a lot of cash sitting around. A lot of people with some decent capital, or a lot of people that had the capital or the cash were ready to deploy it in real estate. And yeah, the lighting's horrible right here. Sorry, guys. Maybe at some point I'll get me a cool little ring light, start an OnlyFans account. I don't know, but yeah, I got to get some better lighting in here. So real estate. So yeah, with that jump in real estate, what that tells us is that people are ready to deploy their cash again and their capital. Something like, if you look at what we know about family offices and funds of funds and large you know private equity firms and stuff like that, something like 65% of their capital is deployed in real estate, because real estate is boring and real estate just works over time. It's relatively safe, short of just playing the basic stock market, short of just basic, treasury bonds or whatever, just your really safe and secure investments. Real estate, land doesn't break, land doesn't die, land doesn't run away. Real estate is nice and boring and relatively stable. I mean, it has its ups and downs. We saw that in 2008, 2009. There's some rumblings right now that we might be heading for a bubble in real estate. I think that's still going to take a while to get for that bubble to burst, in my opinion. With everything that the current administration's putting out there, there's a lot of money going into not just what I talked about a second ago with the private capital that's ready to deploy coming out of COVID. But we do have a lot of government money, not just our government. There's other governments around the world that are just pumping dollars into their economy. And with that, we're going to see more, a lot more churn, a lot more activity in the real estate market. Just locally, I mean, I wouldn't call it the wild, wild west, but it's, it might be a little close. I mean, there's just a lot of activity out there. We, as both for a client and also as part of our real estate fund, I looked at five properties between single family, multifamily, and commercial, since the last time we talked. And, it's just a very active market. There's people wanting to sell, there's people wanting to buy, it's all over the place. So, if real estate is part of your investing, if real estate is part of your business, or part of where you deploy your capital, and you'd like to know a little more about it, just shoot me a message, give me a call, whatever. I'd love talking about investing in real estate. Let's see, what else was I going to talk about on real estate? That. Oh, speaking of real estate, something came out today from the Manhattan Chamber, just kind of going along with the kind of the news at the top of the hour here. They are getting ready to, I believe they've put out the RFP, the request for proposal, for somebody to come in and do a housing study. I didn't realize this, but there really hasn't been an in-depth and comprehensive housing study for the Manhattan area in quite some time. And so the chamber is, allocated some funds. And so they're going to have, some somebody come in and do a housing study, which is good because that gives us a really good idea of where housing is in Manhattan. There's a lot of anecdotal stuff that we say. It's like, well, there's all these, slumlords and all the, it seems like you've either in Manhattan, the story goes, you either have crappy, college kid housing where slumlords have taken, single family homes and chopped them into 6 units. Or at the other end, it's like, well, they're only building, 300,000, 500,000, $1 million houses. So there's no happy medium for what's called workforce housing. And I talked a little bit about this last time we spoke about, there's different ways to look at, the affordability of workforce housing. Are we paying people enough? When we say people can't afford housing, is it the housing's fault? Or we know there's other factors that we have to take into consideration. But at any rate, the chamber has put out an RFP to look for someone to do a housing study. And I think that's, if it gets done, this year, by the end of this year, that'll give us a lot of great information when it comes to investing in housing and where the next set of development will go, and and what type of housing would be best. And those are the type of things that, if if you invest in rental properties, if you're just looking for a new house, in the next year or so, or if your business does anything that has to do with housing, whether it's, cleaning housing or painting houses or, handyman services or, carpet cleaning or something, looking at stuff like that housing study helps you because that keeps you abreast of what's going on. And you can plan out, the very, very successful companies have these very long-term plans. And yeah, that may seem like that's hard to do. Is maybe you're a manager, maybe you're a one man or one woman or one person operation, and you're just trying to keep your day-to-day operations going. But you have to take time to kind of sit back and reflect and think and strategize long term, so you can to be successful, to stay ahead of the trends. And something like a housing study can help you do that. If whatever it is that you do has something to do with houses, single family, multifamily, commercial, real estate, whatever. And that'll, that once again, it helps, luck is the connection of preparedness and opportunity. Well, looking at those studies, looking at industry data, that's your preparation so that when that opportunity shows up, you're ready to rock and roll. So what else do we have? Oh, also just staying with the chamber and some chamber news stuff. Next Tuesday, next Tuesday, May 4th at noon, as part of the chamber's power lunch, brown bag lunch, power lunch. It's all Zoom now. Series. They're going to be talking about the Kansas framework for growth, and once again, this is a way to see, how the big pieces are moving in our economy and in our business environment, in our business ecosystem. The Kansas framework for growth. It's a governor. Governor Kelly has initiated this. The lieutenant governor is actually the front man for it. And it's just laying out where the state of Kansas, what they're going to focus on when it comes to, getting out of COVID and recovering our economy. And part of that, of course, is, there's, if it passes, there may be a gigantic infrastructure bill. So that's another, millions or $1 billion that the state's going to get. So knowing what their sorry, I'm trying to see if I have any comments, still trying to work on this. But anyway, knowing what the state of Kansas, knowing what the state's priorities are when it comes to economic recovery, once again, you can maneuver and strategize to where your business, whether it's a service or manufacturing or whatever, can align with that, and you can kind of be at the forefront of it. That way you're ready when, the state says, okay, now we're moving on to this phase to do this. You're prepared to seize that opportunity. So that's the Kansas framework for growth. Lieutenant Governor's going to talk about it. It's next May 4th, next Tuesday at noon. Our good friend Trent Armbrost, I can never pronounce his last name. He used to do absolutely wonderful things at the Manhattan Chamber. He now works at the state level, and he is very knee deep in this Kansas framework for growth. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he did most of the talking and on this Zoom call or this webinar, whatever it is, next May 4th at noon. If you need more information about it, just go to the chamber website and they've got it there. They're sponsoring this power lunch is what it's called. May 4th at noon, next Tuesday. So talking about staying ahead of, where the state government or any government is going tomorrow, April 27th, Spark MHK, Sarah Sider's great organization. They are hosting a free event. Oh man, I didn't write the time down. I wrote down on my agenda the event, but I didn't get the time. I know it's a Zoom event. Just go check out Spark MHK on Facebook or Google it. But tomorrow they're talking about, how to find capital, whether it's a small business association loan or it says beyond the SBA loan is what it talks about, is what the title of this webinar is. So perhaps what they'll be talking about is, okay, well, you've got your SBA loan, what are other forms of funding? Now, I could talk about that Jeff, my mentor, could talk about that. There's a whole group of us that can talk about that. But tomorrow, Spark MHK is having a whole webinar on it. I think it'll be some great information. I plan on being there and listening in, and should be some great information. As you know, Spark MHK, it's it's a nonprofit. It is there to help, help build and, get the entrepreneurial ecosystem of the Manhattan area and the Flint Hills area going. Not just going, but going and sustained and moving forward. They're doing great things there at Spark MHK. So that's tomorrow. Check out their Facebook page. It'll have all the information. Let's see. Once again, if you're an entrepreneur or a small business person and you just don't know how to meet other people like us in the area, there's all types of ways to meet and mingle and connect and network and get education and everything. Like I said, there's Spark MHK. Just check them out, send them a message. They'll get back with you. They would love to help you out. If you're an entrepreneur or small business person that just has questions or needs some guidance or just wants to talk. Of course, there's your chamber. They love to help out small business entrepreneurs also. Of course, we have 1 Million Cups, which is every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Check out their Facebook, 1 Million Cups Manhattan or 1 Million Cups MHK, excuse me, or check out their Facebook or just Google it, 1 Million Cups Manhattan, Kansas. It has a world of information. I explained that to somebody over the weekend and, they went back. You can watch videos of other presenters. All the information's right there. It's a really great organization for educating and connecting with other entrepreneurs and small business people. We have the Manhattan Referral Network, which is more geared towards straight network marketing and networking, and same thing with BNI, Business Networking International. We have 2 chapters of BNI in Manhattan. There's a Wednesday morning chapter and a Wednesday lunch chapter. Once again, Google it, BNI Manhattan, Kansas. Get a hold of Robert Murphy. Get a hold of Matt Walters at Commerce. I mean, those guys can get you plugged into the BNI organization. It's a really great organization for networking and network marketing. Let's see what else we got going on this past week and moving forward. Small business for sale. We were approached. My owners group was approached about. It's basically an RV. Think of an RV Airbnb. They have a selection of very high-end recreational vehicles. They put them out. It's kind of like glamping, if you will. It's camping, except, much better, not just in a tent or under a tree in a sleeping bag. But basically, people go out, people pay to rent the RV. The business sets it up, gets everything set. People rent it out, leave. The business picks it back up, resets it. And I think they're pretty much reserved all summer. The owners are, ready to move on to bigger and better things. So they are looking to sell off that book of business and sell off those RVs. So if you want some more information about that, shoot me a message, give me a call, shoot me a text. Let me know. So that's kind of that's the classified ads for tonight, I guess, of local businesses that I know that are looking for an exit. What am I looking for? I get that. People ask me that quite a lot, along with the Kirk, what do you do? Is, Kirk, how can I help you? What are you looking for? Right now, it's single family and multifamily residents. Both a couple clients, the real estate fund we have. We are looking. The real estate market is hot. We are looking for single family homes to either flip or rent. To buy and flip or buy and hold and rent. And same thing with multifamily, 4-door, 8-door, whatever, 16-door. We were looking at 13-plex, and then another kind of mixed plex is a mix of apartments and bungalows. We're still putting together some stuff to put in an offer for those. So that's what we're looking for, single family and multifamily. Of course, I will tell you, along with just regular real estate, single family, multifamily, commercial real estate, self-storage is going gangbusters right now also. You would be very hard pressed to find self-storage in the Manhattan area right now. So what are we looking for? We're either looking for, a mom and pop self-storage that's kind of ready to sell and jump in the Winnebago and ride off into the sunset, or somebody with land just kind of along the outer rim of Manhattan, where it's not quite developed yet, looking for land out in that kind of demographic along the kind of outskirts of town to put up some self-storage sites. So either a self-storage facility in the area. It doesn't have to be in Manhattan. It can pretty much be anywhere. But, self-storage facility, mom and pop that's ready to kind of retire and there's nobody to pass it off to and they want to sell it, let us know. Or if somebody has some land on the outskirts of town that, we could look at to possibly put in self-storage. Would love to talk to you about that. So that's kind of the wrap up of the kind of local business news. If, of course, at any time, if anybody has any comments, please chime in. I know it's late, so there may be absolutely nobody watching. I think I was up to like 6 views and then they all bailed, but that's okay. Kind of the long form piece tonight I wanted to talk about was customer service. Had kind of a bad customer service experience this weekend. I'll be perfectly honest with you. And I hate saying that. I'm not going to name the company, but I'll kind of briefly talk about it and how I felt that, in my opinion, how it went wrong and how it continues to go wrong. Those that know us know that we're kind of in the middle of a remodel in the house. We bought all new beds for us and for the kiddos. And since we bought new beds, we decided, if we're going to put in new beds, we might as well, go ahead and paint the rooms, kind of do some spring cleaning, get the shampoos or get the shampoos or carpet, get the shampoos carpeted, get the carpets shampooed, while the beds are out there and everything's out of there, and just kind of make a thing of it. Well, ordered the beds through a furniture company, local furniture company, and was told they'd be, of course, with like every other supply chain around here, was told, well, it may be a few weeks before they get here. That's fine. That gives us time to paint, gives us time to kind of purge stuff out of the rooms. Well, come to find out, they were ahead of schedule. So last week, we were scrambling to get everything painted and everything purged and cleaned up and all the carpets done. And then Saturday, the beds show up. And we had an appointment from like 10 to 12, pretty standard stuff. A couple college guys get out. First and foremost, they totally forgot one of the beds. Like it wasn't on the delivery truck. And then they started setting stuff up and you realized that either they hadn't set up these types of beds before, or they really underestimated how much time it would take them, because they said it would take 2 hours, roughly 2 hours from 10 to 12, and they were here right on time, right at like 9:58 they made it. However, they didn't have the right drill bits. I don't think they realized that it was almost like IKEA furniture. They were building these like the headboard for the king. They had to build that slat by slat. It came in the boxes totally all the way broken down. And I don't think they were prepared for that. They didn't realize that. And so they went way over time. Finally, a manager showed up in a delivery van with the third bed and some other stuff that these guys, I don't know if they forgot it or if whoever loaded the truck the night before didn't put stuff on the truck for that delivery on Saturday. I mean, it was just kind of a mess. And, I didn't blame the delivery guys because they were just doing their job. And it was probably college kids. Somebody told them, hey, you want to make easy beer money? All you got to do is put together furniture. It's real easy. Well, these guys, they're getting flustered. People in Junction City and Manhattan who had appointments for that afternoon because they were running late here were calling the store. So the store is calling the delivery manager is calling these guys at my place, kind of yelling at them over the phone, saying they're taking too long. And it was just a huge thing. And then they broke one of the pieces. Like one of the kids' beds has, the drawers on the bottom and the little door that goes into like a cubby hole thing under the bed. And that they broke that door. And they pointed it out to us. They were very upfront about it. But they broke that door, and I was like, well, you're just gonna have to put that on the piece of paper, and that's really all we can do. So they finished up. They moved on to the next job. Ended up borrowing a couple of my tools because they didn't even have the right tools to put the beds together. Um, so I helped them out a little bit there. I wasn't mad at them. But it was just one of those things where they just weren't prepared, and it seems like they were kind of set up for failure, which is always sad to see in a business. But to me personally, where the customer service really fell apart is no one reached out after that. I mean, the furniture store knew it took them too long. The furniture store knew they broke, a piece of the bed as they were installing it, and it's still broken. And I know it's Monday, I got it. But me personally, if I was a furniture store, if I was the manager, if I was a salesperson that sold us that stuff, I would have called today to check up on everything. I would have called today and said, hey, I saw the report that, sorry, I'm looking at a message. Okay, never mind. I saw the report where one of the pieces was broken. We're going to take care of that. It's got an estimated time of arrival of X, a week, 2 weeks, whatever. But nothing, man, nothing. I mean, nobody said anything. And even if it went smoothly, when you drop, north of $3,000 in beds, you would think the salesperson or somebody would call and be like, hey, just making sure everything went smoothly. But nothing. And that's me personally. Sorry, bounce off the mic. Me personally, I think that's where the customer service fell apart because, it's all about the follow up. Good or bad, you still have to follow up. And I think that it just didn't happen. So yeah, so that was kind of the customer service. That's the customer service lesson number one of that. Oh, number two, I remember now. Saw a friend of mine that owns a small business in town, had a anti-masker, or somebody came into the store. The owner, my friend, wasn't there. I think it was one of his kids, teenage kid, was minding the store. Somebody comes in, excuse me, their shopper, their customer. Our policy is you have to have a proper mask on. Apparently, this person had on like a mesh mask, just it wasn't a real mask. And that person got really upset at this poor teenage kid just minding the store for, their parents. And then the owner shows up, customer gets in the owner's face about this, that, and the other. And then, of course, customer leaves a horrible review on Google about the business and and just personally attacked the owner, talked about their weight, said that they'll never shop there again, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, my takeaway from that, once again, my personal opinion, if I was the owner, of course, reply to that review, but remember that when you reply, you're not talking to the person that complained. Because unless there was just a huge miscommunication and you could say, no, it was red, you think it was red, I think it was blue, we can come to a compromise, and, that would be an easy, resolution. Chances are, if somebody went through the steps to complain on Google or Facebook or something about your business, whatever you say isn't going to make it better. So instead of replying to the person, the advice I have is reply for the readers of everyone else that's going to read that review. Because a lot of people, of course, go and, look at the reviews, before they shop. Or if they see something on Facebook about, oh, I got a bad review, of course, they're going to go read it. They're going to click and go read it. So when you reply, especially to a bad review or from a customer, if it's a valid customer and not just, a troll or something like that, because I've had to deal with those also before. But when you reply in a way that addresses everyone else that's going to read it. Address the situation. Instead of, going back and personally attacking the customer that personally attacked the owner, just say, yes, this is what happened because this is our policy with masks, or this is our policy with, this is our return policy, or this is our policy on whatever. And address it so that the subsequent readers, the future readers of that review, that's who you're trying to kind of win over, or that's who you're trying to explain the situation to, not to the person that made the initial complaint, because chances are nothing you say is going to make them happy. So that's kind of the customer service lessons for tonight is follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up. And, if somebody does leave a negative review, address it in a way so that the subsequent readers are educated. Don't go after the person that made the bad review, and especially don't make it personal. And I know that's tough to do because they made a personal attack against your business. But the way you kind of just completely, put the kibosh on that is write your reply to that bad review in a way that the subsequent readers are educated and they can kind of understand where you're coming from, your policies, etc. Instead of just making it a pissing contest between you and a customer that's upset at you. All right, I think I've gone through my whole cool agenda. Seriously, going to try to get through the rest of Talking with Strangers by Malcolm Gladwell this week. I appreciate Thomas for recommending that book to me. It's good so far, so we'll see how it finishes up. Once again, though, if anybody has any comments or if anybody has a subject, I'm looking at my other screen here to see if there's any comments. Let's check real quick. Nope, everybody just likes the video. Okay, cool. I'm just talking to myself to the screen. That's all right. But yeah, if there's any subject that deals with small business or entrepreneurship, or deals with the Flint Hills and the greater Manhattan area ecosystem of business, we'd love to talk about it. Like I said, next week I'll be in the Chicago area. Should be done with all my meetings and everything a little bit earlier. So hopefully, the Monday mandate will be a little sooner in the evening next Monday. All right. Otherwise, everybody have a great week, and we will talk to you soon.